Yep. You know what I feel like? I feel like the Kool-Aid Man. Are y'all old enough to remember the Kool-Aid Man? When these kids would be like, hey, Kool-Aid! And he'd bust through the wall and be like, oh yeah. And then they would just start singing like a Kool-Aid jingle. Remember that? I feel like the Kool-Aid Man. All right, I don't usually do videos about stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? You remember? Hey, Kool-Aid! Oh yeah, big Kool-Aid glass of Kool-Aid. No sugar in it. Didn't have no sugar in it. Bust through the wall, all that. All right. So I don't usually do videos about stuff like this. This isn't usually my type of hype, but I feel like I wanted to talk about something that I saw at this event. And you know how Christian content creators, right? All right, I'm an idiot. All right. The Kool-Aid Man is here. Oh, yeah, busting through the wall. You know what I'm saying? No sugar. Big Kool-Aid joint. All right, so I don't usually do videos about stuff like this, right? But I just watched the Apple event, and there was some things that I saw. Now, full disclaimer, there are people who do the technological aspects of it. That's not what this video is, right? I'm a believer. I talk about things from a different perspective. If you're an Amazon user, you're not saved anyway. So I don't want no comments about not Amazon, Android. I don't want to hear Android been doing this for the last 4 years. I don't care. I don't care about Android. Android to me is I don't care. If you've been doing it for a while, cool. But I just watched the Apple event. Some cool stuff, but there was something I saw that I just thought, come on, Apple. And it just goes to show you that even in the technological world, you see the enemy working. You see the enemy working. And with a big platform, keep in mind, Apple is the most lucrative company in the world. Like, Apple's the #1 company in the world. So you can say whatever you want about what phones you have and who's doing what. And if you like Tim Cook's Shape Up, all that doesn't matter, right? But there was some stuff I saw. First I'm going to talk about a couple of the good things that I saw. And then I want to get to this one issue where I'm like, man, the devil is everywhere. This dude is just lurking and just using all these platforms. And Apple's not, they ain't believers and all that. So I don't expect Apple to be like that. But let's talk about the event real quick. All right. And I confess, I'm an Apple user. My ecosystem is Apple. I got a Mac. I got an Apple Watch. I got an iPhone. My kids got iPhones. We got iPads. We got it all. I've been in Mac since 2005. So I'm not on the bandwagon. I've been back since back. All right. Some things that I watch, the Apple Watch, the Ultra Watch. They got this new joint where you can just answer it by just tapping. Back. Man, that's crazy. There's plenty of times I'm doing something and the phone ring, my phone and watch ring. And I'm like, man, I want to. So I'll answer it on my phone. All right, hold on. Hey, what you doing, son? Hey, Poppy. But I can just now tap that joint, beep, beep, and it just answers. I can take photos with it with the tap. Man, I don't know if Android has that. Good for y'all. But y'all ain't the #1 company in the world, so stop it. All right? So you got the Apple, the Ultra Watch 2 is going to be crazy. It's really for people who hike and do like them. You know what? Do you know what the Apple Ultra Watch 2 is? It's for white people who be into extreme sports. Let's just keep it a thou wow, right? The Ultra Watch is for white people who be cliff diving and stuff. Man, I don't even like walking to the top of the steps and looking down, fam. So that's not me. You can look at me until I ain't hiking. Stop judging me, right? We know that. But I like it because it's big and I got a big wrist. And so I like it. But there's a lot that it does, but I like some of the features of it, right? But ultimately, everyone wanted to watch the iPhone announcements. Now, if you're like me, you watch people who be like iPhone leaks and stuff like that. And I realized after watching the iPhone leak stuff that it was just dumb. I was like, why am I watching this video? Like, the event is in a couple of days. Like, who cares? It's like somebody telling you, hey, I know what we getting for Christmas. It's like, man, let me just find out, bro. Let me just, I saw them wrapping the gifts. So like the iPhone 15, again, I don't know what Android does. This camera looks tough. 7 lenses. I don't know how much y'all know this. I do photography on the side. Go to Kirk Kennedy on my Instagram. You'll see it's all photography. I don't even really advertise this YouTube channel on that. I keep my photography stuff separate. This is my photography. You can go to iShotya.org. EYE Shotya. See my photography there. I'm getting ready to add some new photos. I take photography seriously, so I love the iPhone, even though that's not my main camera. But they got 48 megapixel, 7 lenses with that joint. Now, if you don't know photography, you don't. Let me explain this to you. When you do a portrait, like if I'm taking a picture of you or like your family or you and your wife or you and your children, you want to use a longer focal length, right? Because the longer the focal length, the more it compresses the background and makes it look blurry and like big, right? You want to use a longer focal length. When you use a wider focal length, it stretches the photo so you can get more into it, but you don't get the same background blur. So when you're doing wide angle shots, it doesn't have that look. But when you zoom in, it's like a wide angle. Like I have a 20 millimeter is really wide, right? It's not the widest, but it's wide. But I also have I have lenses that can go down to 200 millimeter. So if I shoot you at 200 millimeters, the background is going to be blurry and looking crazy, right? This joint, the phone has 120 millimeters f2.8. That's crazy. For the iPhone to be able to have that kind of focal range. Now, I don't know what it's going to look like in terms of the photos, because they showed you some photos, but I don't know. But let me tell you this. Here's where Apple is doing some false advertising, all right? I'm sure some of you know this, but let's just be clear. Whenever you watch these iPhone videos, right, or these Apple events, and they talk about the cameras, and then they show you this picture and look at the rich details and color and all that, and they make you think when you get their phone, you're going to take a shot like that. No, sir-ree, Barbarino. It doesn't work like that. Let me tell you why. Apple is the #1 company in the world, fam. The lighting, you can't tell because that's not how you think. But the lighting in those, they used perfect lighting. I mean, this is Apple. They didn't just take a shot the way you and I would, just normal conditions. They got the perfect lighting in the world. You know, studios, you know, when you watch a movie, even when it's like dark in the room, you think like it's dark. No, it's lighting. They know how to light the room so that you and I can still see that there's a dude coming behind the person that's getting ready to kill him and they're not paying attention, right? There's lighting. So Apple is using the best lighting possible to showcase these photos. So they kind of selling wolf tickets a little bit because your photos are not going to look like that unless you got the right lighting to do that, right? So on one level, Apple, stop lying. You know, you lying a little bit. The camera may be vicious, but nobody's pictures are going to look like that unless they're in perfect conditions, which most of us will not find ourselves in. However, the camera's crazy. 5 times optical zoom, 120 millimeter camera at 2.8 aperture. I know I'm in a different bag right now. Y'all used to Pastor Kurt, who goes to, we're going to get there in a second. Right now, you're talking to photographer Kurt. I'm 2 P's. I'm 3 if you use fat, PHAT, but that's actually for women. Don't use that. I'm a photographer and a pastor, right? And I rap too. I got bars. You know what I'm saying? I got bars like I'm Big Worm in an ice cream truck. So when I get my phase on, you can say that I'm tough. That's from this album right here. Go get that. Go get that. Apple should have used my music. I'm bitter. There's resentment there, but we'll talk about that another time. All right. So the spatial video on it, they got all different colors, right? I'm racist. I'm woke. I'm getting the black titanium. I want black titanium. It's like the black Wolverine claws. All right. So it looks good. Phone looks fantastic. The watch looks incredible. Great event. But let me tell you where I saw the devil. Let me tell you where I saw the enemy working in this thing. And I'm watching this. And okay, listen, I'm not one of those people that think the devil is around every corner. That's not me. Even though he is, though, for real. But I was just watching it as a fan of Apple. I'm a consumer of Apple products. I'm watching the video, trying to convince myself that I need what they're showing me, right? I haven't bought an iPhone in a couple of years, so I will be getting this one. But let me tell you where the devil showed up in this joint. And I was just like, wow. And it's so subtle. If you're not discerning, or if you're not a believer who believes, that Christianity, that Jesus is the only way, that God is sovereign and all of that, right? If you're not a believer who thinks like that, then you wouldn't have probably caught this. You just would have watched it and thought it was dumb or whatever, or maybe or entertained by it. But about halfway through the event, there was this scene where this Latino girl is rushing to get to this meeting where Tim Cook is meeting with a bunch of people, and you don't know what the meeting's about. You just see different people getting papers together, ruffling papers together, and this woman is like rushing. She's a little chubby, so she's like, she ain't trying to rush to her, because when you chubby, you sweat easy, right? I know, right? We know our own. So she was brisk, but she was still like, I don't want to, be all out of breath in there too, right? So she gets into the meeting, and then you see Tim Cook and these other people just talking, getting ready. And then she's nervous. She turns around, and there's a plant that looks like it's dying on top of this, like a stand or something, like a book, almost like a white bookcase. She grabs the plant. You don't know what she's doing. She grabs it, and she crumbles the plant up, right? And then all of a sudden, the room starts shaking, and you see Tim Cook and everybody looking around like what is happening? And the room is shaking, and you don't even know what's happening. And then you see all of these leaves start coming out of the ground and into the air, and you still don't know what's happening at this point. And I'm thinking like, well, what product is this thing going to show? So you see all this happening, the table's rumbling, everything's rumbling, and then all of a sudden, this black woman, I forgot the actress's name. I forgot her name. Chubby. I'm saying chubby. I'm chubby. I can say that, right? That's not being insensitive. When you chubby, you could call people chubby. You know what I'm saying? When you fat, you could say that. You could say that, right? I forgot her name. She's a well-known actress. She sits down in the chair, and all of a sudden, they say, "Oh, Mother Nature, you're here." And I saw that, and I went, ugh. No, Apple, like, why? So here you have, and I bet you, in the climate that we live in, some people are going to get offended at this. Watch. Remember when you heard it first. There are going to be people who get offended because Mother Nature was a chubby black woman who was angry the whole time. She was like, y'all said y'all were going to do this, and y'all haven't done it yet. And they kept trying to, no, Mother Nature, look, this is what we're doing. And so this was a fictitious conversation with Mother Nature for Apple to try to demonstrate that they care about the trees and green and fossil fuel. They care about all these things, plastic and not using plastic. And so it was like a 10-minute sort of infomercial showing that Apple cares enough to make changes to bring less pollution into the world and all of it. And the way that they're presenting it is they're having a conversation with Mother Nature, a chubby black woman who's pretty much mad. Not angry, like yelling and screaming, but just like, yeah, whatever. What's next? Tell me what's next, right? As I'm watching this, now I know Tim Cook is not a believer that I know of. Tim Cook is a gay dude doing this thing. Apple, they don't have to be, and they can do whatever they want. I'm not criticizing what Apple did. I'm just trying to be discerning about what I'm seeing, right? So as I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm thinking, why would they, first of all, it was stupid. Apple, Tim Cook, if you're watching this, Tim, I know sometimes you watch my videos. You need to hire me, fam. You need to bring me in because some of these ideas are dumb. I'm not sure who said spend whatever money y'all spent to make a 10-minute video talking to Mother Nature. I'm not sure anybody was convinced, and you'll thank me later. Next time, holler at me, right? I don't know who thought that would be a good idea, but I'm not worried about that. What I'm looking at is the promotion of Mother Nature, right? Now, most of us think, oh, that's a fictitious thing. No one cares. But that's not really true. If you know your religious history, you know that Mother Nature, the way that the idea comes from, it comes from the Roman pantheon, right? So in the Roman pantheon, they had like Titans and like we're used to like Zeus and Ares and all the Diana, and these are all like gods, right? But then there are people that are greater than the gods. And In the Roman pantheon, and this was believed by millions of people, there was a deity called Gaia. And Gaia was a female. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong about this, so don't at me, especially those of you who are into witches and warlocks and all that stuff. But Gaia was not a Titan. I think there's whatever the level is above the Titans. But Gaia was Mother Earth. That was what they considered Mother Earth. And I think Gaia is Kronos's mom. And then Kronos was overthrown, I think, by Zeus and them. I could be wrong. I know that stuff, but right now I'm not really tripping off of it. But Gaia, Mother Earth, is not just a dumb sort of colloquialism from historical antiquity. No, Mother Earth was is part of the Roman religion that was worshipped and believed to be a real deity. Like Mother Earth, Gaia, you can look this up, she was a deity to some degree, the way we think of Jesus as a deity. So as I'm watching this, and again, it's not a big deal, but to me, I believe everything is satanic that's not from Jesus. It's not about Jesus. It's not acknowledging who he is, and if it's falsehood. I'm watching this, I'm thinking, wow, this is pretty crazy. Here Apple is trying to have us buy technological products, but they pause to bring up a fictitious, making her a chubby black woman who's angry, presentation of Mother Earth, right? Now, think about this for a second. For you and I, you might be mature enough to be like, well, who cares about that? But there are a lot of people that think that, like, believe in the universe, right? There are a lot of people who believe in science, the universe. They reject what you and I may believe. If you're a believer, if you're not a believer, thanks for coming. Like and subscribe to the channel. And you should still pick up this project right here. It'll do something nice for you. It'll help you. Even if you don't believe, it might help you believe something. But there's a lot of people who believe in the concept of Mother Earth, the universe, somehow existing on its own as its own entity. And I thought it was really interesting to watch Apple. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's been a rise of outward satanic stuff. Like there 30 years ago, some of the stuff that was satanic. I remember being a kid. And they said Ozzy Osbourne was like a Satan worshiper. And he was like a crazy rock star. I didn't see this. There were rumors that Ozzy Osbourne passed a cup around at a concert and had all these people spit in the cup and then he drank it. They said he bit off a bat's head, all this stuff. He was like the dude that everyone kind of said was satanic back in the day, right? So there's always been a push for like Satanism, but it was somewhat underground because America back then frowned on stuff like that. But then in the rise, particularly in the entertainment industry, and I'm not talking about Hollywood making The Conjuring and The Nun and those types of movies. That's just for horror films. But there's been a rise where just typical celebrities. I mean, lately people have been making videos about Doja Cat, her outwardness. You got Lil Nas X lap dancing with Satan in this video. The sad part is, bruh, if you die an unbeliever, you might do that for real. And it's not going to be like it was in your video. But there's a rise of Satanism and Satanism is not a rise of an all red being with horns. Satanism is a rise of things that clearly oppose who God is and try to distract. If you heard my video 2 days ago when I was talking about what Christianity has been reduced to, I said in the video that we tend to think Satan is about destruction, but Satan he's about destruction by distraction in America. He distracts us with morality of trying to be good. Because when you want to be a good person, no one cares if you want to be good. When you want to be a godly person, though, people don't want you to be godly because now you're going to do things that a good person wouldn't do. That's a different video, though. But the point that I was making was that there's been a rise of opposition and ideas about the world we live in that have nothing to do with it, take Jesus out, to take God out of it. And it's happening more and more. So when I'm watching this, I'm like, this is supposed to promote products. Why are we watching you have a conversation with Mother Earth, which we know that's not Mother Earth. Even if I thought Mother Earth existed, she definitely doesn't look like that woman right there. She's an actress and all that. So again, if you're conservative, you're going to say it was woke, They just trying to fill quotas. I honestly don't have a problem with that. Let's just be clear. We've watched white people play all kinds of roles and be in movies that weren't their own. I saw the Ten Commandments a ton of times. Charleston Heston and none of them peoples ain't Israeli or Egyptians. Them folks was white. So I don't have a problem with that type of stuff. But the people on the right will say that that's woke. And I can understand why they would say that. What I had a problem with was, and problem may be too strong of a word, was, wow, why are you promoting this fictitious Mother Earth character when it was just kind of strange to me, right? What's up? This my son just came. This is my oldest, the big dog. Thank you. I'm sitting there thinking, why would you promote that using your platform to talk about Mother Earth and make it seem like the things that you're doing in the earth, getting rid of plastic and making these types of changes, getting rid of carbon, you're doing these things because you're trying to please Mother Earth. Now, if you're a believer, we would do some of these things because of the Noahic covenant, right? The Noahic covenant, you take care of the earth. There are a lot of believers who believe it's our responsibility to take care of the earth. But as I'm watching Apple, it's like, wow, the enemy is just poking his head out everywhere. And again, don't misread me here. I'm not one of them Christian content creators that be walking around like, there's the devil, there he is, he's right there. You see him? You see him? You see him? You see him? I'm not doing that, but I do want to pay attention, right? I want to pay attention to things that are clearly, and as we're growing in this, Satan is really making himself known through people that entertain us, right? All of a sudden now companies that we buy from are really like, wow, Mother Earth, like really, Apple? Really? Like Mother Earth though. Like that whole thing could have been taken out and you could have just told us, this is what we're doing. These are the products we're making. This is what we're taking it out. So I just thought it was interesting to watch that. I don't know what the logic was behind it, but I know what it represents, whether Tim Cook and them know it or not. I mean, look, clearly, 2 Timothy 2:26 says that people have been taken captive to do the devil's will. And again, the devil is not after destruction. He's after distraction. So he does not care if you want to be a good person. He loves good. He cares if you're trying to be godly, because godly means you're trying to imitate Jesus. So I'm not blaming Apple. They do whatever they want. They don't profess to believe in the Lord. But I think for people like me and people who like this company and who use their products, I'm not going to stop using their products. I'm not one of those people. Shoot, they said Procter and Gamble is the biggest contributors to the worship of Satan. And I eat most of the stuff. We use Tide, Clorox, Duncan Hines. I mean, all the stuff that I didn't stop doing that. But I do want to pay attention to the subtle messaging, because Satan is very subtle. And so now it's about Mother Earth and talking about Mother Earth and doing things, which is really a fake god, right? It's a pagan deity from Roman antiquity that stems from Gaia. I just think it's fascinating. So pay attention to it or don't have to. I don't really care. What I do care about though is that if you're a believer, that you're just hip. I think we're the body, right? I know what body part I am. I'm hip. I'm the hip. I'm hip. I pay attention to a lot of stuff, and that's what I am. And I also pay attention to the fact that some of y'all need to get this product right here. Streaming everywhere right now. I heard my buddy Ruslan say he's trying to be the best YouTuber rapper. I think he is. Well, I'm the best pastor that's a rapper. In fact, I'm calling out Reverend Run right now from Run DMC. I'm a better rapper than you, bruh. My music is better, bro. I'm calling him out. You bring out your favorite pastor rapper, and I got something for him, right? But seriously, support your boy. Get this album. Get your products. But pay attention, though. Pay attention, because it's not just musicians who are now being extreme about their Satanism. It's not just people in the music industry. No, the devil is working everywhere. And now we trying to do things for Mother Earth. Man, you know who Mother Earth is to me? She doesn't exist. That's who Mother Earth is. Mother Earth doesn't exist. It's the Lord's earth. Isaiah 66, 1 and 2. Heaven is my throne, says God, and the earth is my footstool. All right, I got another video. I might give y'all 2 for today, because I got to tell y'all something. Ben Shapiro lied about something, and we need to talk about that. That'll be the next video. Appreciate y'all.